All right. Well, welcome back. Uh, I'm scared. But
You
but
should be.
but
You
anyways,
better you better keep your mommy on speed dial.
that was said live. I don't know what you want out of that one. But but anyways, welcome back. This is episode 12 and our second episode of our final arc here of Star Trek Intelligence. Silver cannot be here because they have prior obligations. And while we will do, plugs and promotions as always, I will go out of my way and to promote for them. You can find them on every platform as Silver Sugar or X Silver Sugar. They generally do stream stuff or are working on doing that. I believe they have some recent hardware issues that they had, and they have pay what you want art commissions, and they would definitely appreciate it if you were to do such. Just artistry's rough, y'all. But but with that being said, additionally, usually I would keep my announcements in the back half, but I'll just do them up top here. We are 6 followers away from 50. If we get to 50, we'll have a Lower Decks 2 shot, and maybe now an Oops All Red Shirts one shot that kind of spontaneously just birthed out of the void. Um, we'll see. But the rest of the people may go around. I know a couple of them are smart enough to not have a social media presence. Some of us are not that smart.
Hi, I'm Slay. I'm one of the non-smart ones. You can find me on Twitter at Sons of Warvan. That's Sons underscore of underscore Warvan. I have a couple things that are coming down soon, but I cannot talk about them, not even to these guys. So don't try to get me. Also, it's my birthday on Friday, so Joe has to be nice to me.
I don't, but that's. Wait. No, wait.
Depends on your perspective.
I'm.
So rude.
Someone save me.
No.
Alright. No further promotions then this time?
Oh yeah, no,
Hi.
wait.
Or the little go.
Nah, you should go first.
Oh, mine's sort of a joke more than anything else, so you
Right
should
then.
go.
So the most frustrating thing happened very recently. Unfortunately, the blog that I wanted to present today is Tumblr ate it. Um, uh, because it's a very, very, very hungry website apparently. Anyway, when it will return, I will send you all the link. But it's a blog dedicated to my passion project, a comic that I am just starting to draw. And I had everything prepared, just Tumblr being a little piece of crap. But yeah, not gonna talk much about it right now. But it's a big thing for me, and I hope to when it comes back. I hope to see you guys there. It's a Your World on a Plate, the name of the comic, and yeah, I'm just starting. I'm learning how to as I go. Hope you join me on
Uh oh.
a journey of the legend.
Oh no. You are going a little robotic.
Me.
Um,
Nothing's easy today. We're just starting, I guess.
well, while that is getting sorted out, hi, I'm Lucas Santana, and I'm around for a couple of weeks here. Um, and normally you can find me over Rule of Lore, but tech issues have sort of forced that to come to a huge standstill. So these days you can find me in my house, but please don't. That's all I got.
I I am so glad you didn't add to that because that would be I mean, that would be a power move in itself. Is just like self-doxing yourself. But
I live at bleeps out address.
This is live. You can't bleep your address.
No, it's okay. We'll fix it in post.
fix it in post.
Yeah, we only have like 30 people watching or so it shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, but the internet's unhinged like that.
And you have a reference librarian on your show, so
All joking aside, I strongly suspect that just from like the sheer amount of Rule of Lore content, if somebody were to comb through it, I bet they could very easily figure out where I live. It wouldn't be that hard. I'm not telling you
it
to
would
do
take
it.
a
I'm
little
just
bit
saying
of
it's possible.
dedication, but
Yeah.
Everything is
like,
possible.
Thousands of hours worth of content that you'd have to go through, but still, like, technically possible. Because of the age of technology that we live in right now.
Not only that, but I mean, combined all the different actual plays and stuff, there's just every now and again there's a sentence that's tossed out as like, huh, that's a weird sentence. But anyways, no one focus on that. Don't do it. Because it's actually highly illegal. So don't.
Yeah.
But anyways, we shall jump into the game and be right back.
I just know people. I don't know.
All right, welcome back. Not us talking about highly illegal activities, but
That's never happened before.
Never.
No, of course
could
not.
never.
But
Totally innocent babies over here.
you're not. But we're gonna jump into the game. So
I'm hurt, Joe.
during the last episode, a attack of a not perfect but near perfect holographic projection of Joloran sent an attack onto Starfleet Academy, resulting in the casualty ratio of, I believe I said 218 cadets, and thus began sort of a ticking time bomb of a clock of a various deep fake attacks, communications that have been wired into where none of our team can trust their own communications with each other. And so, going very old school, a few of them have broken their comm badges and their pads, making them very difficult to track. Over the course of it, there was a check over at a colony to determine if there was any origin point, and its only purpose of a looped video was to specifically just separate. Because divide and conquer is one concept, but divide and crush is another. And as that is all happening at this simultaneous area, all the way not that far away from all of this, is Jupiter Station. Jupiter Station contains a very a sort of an experimental unit still, which is the Galactic Action Threat Evaluation Post, which is a team dedicated to high value and strenuous missions. For a now Lieutenant Commander Alec Caraballo, being brought to your attention one Lieutenant Hera Viren, who is your posted XO that you've kind of over this. She is like your top type of threat analyst, and also everything that's kind of happened. I mean, you still keep tabs on Madrid. You know, have calls, maybe not daily, but weekly check-ins, and sometimes just like extracurriculars because people have to unwind. But she does kind of come into as you were kind of posting over a active kind of mission that is kind of a slow-going one, but she does come in and bring sort of a to your attention. Her face is, she's generally a very upbeat person, but she is very serious in this, and she is, to put it in perspective, she is much more of like a party-going person, and there is none of that here right now. Commander?
I look up and go, "Ooh, okay. Who died?" Okay, wrong question?
I'm hoping that's not the case, but given everything that we've experienced, especially you asked one of our lieutenants to look into the whole breach in Madrid, and we did track some portions of it, and we did transfer that information along. But from what I understand, the Madrid field office itself has gone completely dark. It is not keeping in contact with Starfleet Command, any ships, any outposts, and even communications that we use for just game nights, essentially. They've been severed.
Not necessarily cause for immediate worst case scenario. It's happened before. Do we have anything at all?
It just happened a couple hours ago, and we were checking in to make sure it wasn't something that just wasn't a blip. But we do keep monitor of people we care about, and from what I understand, Petty Officer Kavai, Lieutenant Miraloris, and Lieutenant Commander Mahone, all of their anything that we could use to determine life signs or tracking have gone dark.
Okay. Well, what was the last place we had any of these readings? Do you have that information?
Kind of flips through a pad. One is on Mars Penal Colony 507. Looks like I don't know this officer, but it looks like the CO of Madrid was there, and it looks like the others are split between Starfleet Command, but they look very separated from each other last we checked.
See, that's probably the most concerning thing you've said so far. Okay.
I know this, the Admiral gave us this mission, but seeing as we're kind of on a standstill with this mission, we have a runabout. We could be to Sol in 2 minutes at max warp if we needed to be.
Well, then let's make it happen. Like you said, this mission isn't going anywhere.
No, I hate patient adversaries, but we're just gonna She'll
Well,
get the
uh,
pad and like get a notification and like make sure like it's this mission's still being worked on, but kind of like shift in is like, okay, fresh set of eyes, you deal with this mission. We kind of have a mission of our own that's a little personal and might get us in trouble. So just like don't say anything, but
all right. How soon can we get that runabout ready?
I am ahead of the game on you there, Commander. I had it prepped ahead of time.
You see, this is why you're my you're my first officer.
Yeah.
And about the whole patient adversaries thing, I learned a long time ago the key to outmaneuvering a patient adversary. Usually to be impatient while letting them think you're not. Let's go.
Okay. And as you take off, within the Madrid field office, you actually get an alert because, again, Alec is not safe from the insane pilots, because Lieutenant Viren is also kind of a very hotshot pilot to the point where she's, they did not let her in her cadet days even be a part of like Nova Squadron, only because they felt her risky like maneuvers and tendencies were too dangerous. So it is one of those things where you're getting the alerts and you're seeing it, and the Madrid field office is actually getting the alert that something has dropped out of warp literally like 500 meters away from the area.
Makes me wish. Under my breath, I'll just sort of mutter. Kind of makes me miss flying in tandem with a Romulan vessel.
It kind of looks like they're on full lockdown, sort of, Commander, or at least the activity seems too plain.
Okay. Can I... Is there any way for me to... even if I don't know directly where I'm sending the signal, sort of send kind of like... I don't know, like the equivalent of like clicking on a walkie, basically, to like... just sort of generally alert anybody who might... Any of my like former team who might be listening that like I'm around.
You would have something like that. It's pretty easy enough to do because, one, you have been in like personal contact with Jaloran, so that's like an immediate like tether that happens. Like it's the distance has kind of affected it a little bit now because you've been apart for a few months, but the like space, there is like that almost instinct to it where you're both kind of aware that you're aware of each other's presence.
Okay.
And you would pick up almost immediately that the link is opening, or like has been open, as if she's been looking for you.
Okay. I'll just make my presence and attention known.
Mm-hmm.
And in response back, you get a like a sense of relief and warm welcome, like very closely tied together. It's like a welcome, like, hey, good to see you again, and this big sense of relief of, oh my gosh, I've got backup. Somebody I can trust is back here.
Okay. If possible, I'm just gonna send back like a basically just like question, location.
She's gonna send you an image of San Francisco, an area nearby headquarters. She acknowledges that you'd probably have to land at headquarters, but she's directing you to a spot off campus.
Okay, then I'll just turn to Lieutenant. I'll just say, right here, these coordinates.
Okay. Strange place to land, but sure.
Call it intuition for now.
Sure. Landing. As you land, you can almost see it, Leora, as you're kind of like walking into the Brigadier of Starfleet Command. You do see clearly a pilot that is just as arguably insane as you, because you can fully identify someone who has warped into the atmosphere and stopped a very, very short distance away, like to the point where it's like there will be reprimands for that, for sure. Before
Gotta admire someone who can stop on a dime like that.
Yeah, and then there's taking off somewhere and landing somewhere else.
So from the connection, would I feel like, from my perspective, would I feel Alec being closer, or
Yes,
is that only Jaloran?
it would be like, I wouldn't say it's as tight as Jaloran's, but it is like that sort of like intuition feeling, like that slight little bit where you can just kind of let yourself relax, even if it is for a moment.
Okay. Okay. So I'm in the. Am I inside a building or am I outside on campus?
You're outside, heading inside.
Okay. Can you, just so I have my bearings, because I wasn't here for the last couple minutes of last episode, can you like describe what I'm looking at real quick?
Yes. You are kind of leaving the open courtyard area. The area in which you are entering is it is a piece of Starfleet Command, and it has sort of those wide halls, but it is areas that are much more it would be like the diplomatic section, where a lot of ambassadors are stationed as well. But on top of that, it also is a place where younger officers kind of start being assigned places to be. And so there's a lot of like foot traffic that moves through.
And did I track the signal to here, or am I just like walking through here?
You're just walking through here. You don't know fully where the signal is. You do know it's within Starfleet Command. You just don't know exactly where.
Okay. So okay. I have one last question. Sorry about all the questions, but so my talent, well informed. We've basically been doing that. Like, I've been getting like communications through my pad, but I destroyed my pad. So do I still have access to that talent, or would we say that for purposes of this, I don't have that talent?
You would still have that talent for this instance, but I think after that, no.
I was going to argue it would probably be via a different way, or it would be restored rather shortly.
Yeah, that could also work.
Okay. So well, for the people who don't know, my well-informed talent basically means that I give Joe a threat and I ask 2 questions. So
Nice.
Take your threat, Joe. You're welcome.
Perfect.
Question 1. The tech that I'm tracking, is it Federation tech or is it some sort of other kind of tech?
It is Federation tech, but it does have an impressive element to it that maybe this is why you're able to track it a little bit. It is using a particular coding that's very, very hard to decode efficiently. Like, it takes even Jaloran a pretty rough time to do it. Is using some Romulan code as well.
Got it. That's question 1. Question 2. I didn't think that far ahead. Sorry.
Can we bank that question for later, or does it
Nope.
have to be used now?
No.
Has to be used now.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I was just so focused on my first question that ADHD took the second question away. I had a second question, but ADHD took it away.
The mood.
Let's see here.
Total mood.
Yeah. Is there a part of campus that is showing an unusual amount of computer of any sort of activity?
There are several places that do that, but I mean, it's just because of what it is. I mean, there's definitely the diplomatic areas because that's just a lot of like talks and stuff, and sometimes it's just done over screens. The other part of it that is active right now is there's a lot of tech active because there's a lot of people trying to do damage control for the whole end of that episode where the whole monologue was just tossed into the wind. So there's a lot of tech being active for the damage control. And by proxy, things like archival records are getting tossed into overdrive because you have several options to look for, but I would say presently, just because of everything that is happening, archives is probably the most active.
So let's see here. If I was this person, I wouldn't try to hide in a inactive place because with the particular code, this person's good enough to use this code. They're good enough to know that part of it is distinct enough from Federation that someone looking could find it. So I would go to the most active place with the most active computers and try to hide amongst the crowd, kind of thing.
Okay.
So I'm going to go to the place with the most active computers, trying to hide amongst the crowd.
Okay. That 100% would be like archival retrieval and also like blocking because Cisco's monologue being used in this kind of is really damning. And so there's a lot of like archivists and also just people within that like profession that's like they have the skill set to try and do something about it.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to. So is there a free terminal?
Oh yeah.
All right. All right. I'm trying to think because Sorry, I'm very nervous all of a sudden.
Do you know why you're nervous? Because you don't have a comm badge and you don't have a pad.
No, that's exactly why I'm nervous. I'm going to get on a terminal and try and see if I can. Well, no, I'm going to avoid the terminal for a minute. Can I look around and see who, like? Okay, quick question. So, does everyone here? Do the people here know about what just happened at the academy?
Yeah,
they're
fully aware of that. But on top of that, you are also seeing, there are a lot of people in gold, like security officers, that are kind of, they do have like phasers and phaser rifles or scatter guns available to them, and it is literally because of that, how that ended with that whole in the pale moonlight monologue and all of that.
Yeah.
That polarizes the public, and so they are preparing for the potential of like Starfleet versus civilian could potentially happen. That whole thing has turned Earth into like a powder keg, and it's just gonna take one match to just light everything.
Okay. I'm gonna walk around, and this is probably a very long shot, but I'm looking for anyone who doesn't seem to be the appropriate amount of concerned or panicked. Like, there's only so much a person can hide of their true intentions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just like someone spending too much time on the computer, not looking at necessarily a news thing. Someone not just not fitting the vibe of the room. Like, there's like the tense security guards. That's one vibe. There's like panic people. Who doesn't fit. I'm trying to figure that out.
Then this is going to be an insight security roll for sure. This is going to be a difficulty of 3, and I am going to spend 5 points of threat.
I love you, Joe. I really do. This is so much fun. I love it when you spend a lot of threat on me because I'm waiting for it to blow up in my face. Okay, so let me look at my new character sheet real quick. Would infiltration or tactics come into focus here?
I would argue infiltration.
Infiltration.
Yeah.
Yes. Simply because you are doing an infiltration job, but you're also trained in it, and so you're looking for it too.
Yeah, I'm looking for someone who doesn't fit, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see here. Insight and security, you said?
Yep.
Okay. 3 successes.
You have 3?
No, I'm saying 3 successes is what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do you guys think? Should I give Joe a threat to buy an extra die?
Or we don't have any momentum, so.
Okay.
The chaos.
Okay. Joe, take another threat.
Perfect.
And the communication range is what exactly?
15 or higher.
All right, cool. So, here's what's going to happen. I got a 3, which is my security, so that's 2 successes. I got a 9, which is another success, so that's 3 successes. I also rolled an 18.
Delightful. Okay. So, this does mean you are able to identify the person. And, you're looking around, you are looking through. You're trying to find someone, because you're right, there are people who are tense, there are people who are on edge, and there are people, that are trying to, this is a very tense situation they are in. And you are in that type of situation where, really, the next 48 hours are very important. Because after that, any sense of control is gone. But the thing that stands out to you the most, because you are doing the exact same thing right now, is someone who is very focused. There is being dedicated, and there is being cautious, and then there is being focused. And you are watching, they are blending in with the crowd pretty successfully, but looking through and stuff. Damn you, Vance. But
What did I do?
guessed it right on the nose. An archivist is working on like a wrist pad, and also like checking and then working on a terminal, and the speed at which she is doing things, the only person that you have seen move this fast is Jaloran. here is where the complication comes in.
Bring it.
She becomes fully aware of you noticing her, and what she does instead, she doesn't run. She just backs away from the terminal, puts her hands up, can I help you, Commander?
Yes. I'm sorry. What was your name?
Lieutenant Teth.
Nice to meet you, Lieutenant. Do you mind if I ask what you're working on?
I do, because of our present situation. Things are compartmentalization and all of that.
I'm ordering you to tell me what you're looking on.
There are a couple of security officers that are like taking note of what is happening here.
Yeah.
Commander? Quite literally, I cannot tell you that. Security?
Security. I'm trying to basically out-presence her with my rank.
Okay. Okay, this is going to be Presence Command.
Thank you.
This is going to be a difficulty of 5. And there is a reason why it is a difficulty of 5. As well as I will be spending 2 points of threat, so...
Okay. So my convocation range is 18?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see here. Well, obviously I'm going to give you another threat to get a die because I did not get momentum. Let me look at my value. Let me look at my values real quick. I have a value that I think might work. High risk, high reward.
Yes, it will work. Yeah, that will work.
All right, that's 2 successes, and this is command, right? So would negotiation work?
This isn't so much a negotiation as much as it is just overpowering presence. That's not really a negotiative tactic, so I would say no in this case.
Lead by example.
That one I'm going to make you argue for, because this is... I can see one way in which it works.
All right, so basically what I'm arguing is Leora. Goddamn, I'll get used to it too. It's okay, guys. Leora is basically trying to project an image of confidence and leadership, and is basically of a Starfleet officer who has identified a threat to identify a threat, and is trying to rally everyone around to focusing on that threat. They're trying to use their command training and say, "This is the threat. Go for the threat."
Yes, then I will allow that.
Right.
Here is what I will tell you right now. Complication will be catastrophe. Any failure, like if you do not fully make this, will also be very, very bad for you.
Okay. Well, let's roll.
High risk, high reward indeed.
All right, so let's see here. I rolled a 4, which is 2 successes. That makes it 4 successes. An 8 and a 12, which makes it 5 successes.
Okay.
So I made it.
The security officers do, understand just... but they are going to ask, because this is kind of a strange scenario to be in. Commander, can you explain to us what's going on? And they do have the pips of, like, Lieutenant or Lieutenant Junior grade, somewhere around there.
My name is Lieutenant Commander Leora Mahone of the Madrid field office. I have reason to believe that this woman is committing suspicious activity. I just want to talk. And if I'm wrong, I will take the hit. You don't have to take the hit.
All right. Lieutenant, can you... Where would you like to bring them, Commander?
Is there a secure room or facility we can bring him here?
There's a couple of
on
diplomatic suites that are empty. I know that's a little strange, but
that'll work for now.
follow us, Lieutenant. Make a mistake. But you are led into a diplomatic suite. They just, if it wasn't so much of a stressful situation, Leo, you could look around and go like, okay, yeah, damn, this is a nice room. But
This is nicer than my office.
yep. So, do you want me to sit on the bed, or...
You can sit wherever you like.
Perfect.
You're very good at computers.
I'm an archivist, I have to be.
I've only seen one person that good.
That says more about you than it does about me, but
True. So, are you going to tell me what you're working on?
damage control. Like every other archivist.
Well, that's funny because you said you couldn't tell me what you were working on, and now you're telling me it's damage control. Pick a lane. You were the one that I picked out of the crowd because you were too focused on what you were doing. You stood out to me, so I'm just trying to figure out why you stood
Well, I'll
out.
take that as a
Now,
compliment,
if
at least.
Now, if I'm wrong, I'll take the hit. If I get a demotion out of it or anything like that, which you seem to think that this is a mistake and I'm going to get in trouble, I'll take that. But right now, I need to know what exactly it is you were working on. Pretty please.
Okay. Is there any potential of me inquiring, since you seem to have roped security into this as well?
Well, you're the one that called them first, so not my fault your plan didn't go your way.
Well, I called them because, as you can see, lieutenants, there's something that I find very suspicious about this commander here. They kind of look at each other. Do you have a pad on you, Commander? A comm badge?
Nope.
Which means they can't be tracked in Starfleet Command in a very stressful situation.
That is true.
And you are seeing the gears begin to turn into the security officers, because now there's this dilemma that they're facing. Yes, you outrank them, at least that's what you've said, but she's not wrong. You don't have a pad. You don't have a comm badge.
You're welcome to look me up. I looked to one of the lieutenants. You're welcome to look me up. Leora Mahone, child of Admiral Mahil. Recently changed my name, so also look for Tate. I don't know if the paperwork has gone through yet.
Oh, it has.
They're mostly saying that to just to say it.
Ease their own tensions that they're feeling.
Yeah, well, I think on the surface, Tate is just being very calm and focusing on. I mean, Leora. God damn it, I'm doing it more than you guys. Yeah, but Leora is just like. If Leora were still Tate, Tate would be much more tense than Leora is. Leora. There's a reason Leora's daring went up. Leora's fine right now.
Right.
I'm not, but Leora is.
The lieutenant, one of the lieutenants does leave to verify this, as one of them does stay. Okay, well, I tried, and I guess I failed, so What happens now, Commander?
Are you admitting to being suspicious? And to...
I'm admitting that you believe that.
Okay. Well, we're just gonna talk. And I would like to see what you were working on. If you're afraid of any repercussions, I'll take the hit.
No, I'm not afraid of any repercussions. I think you, of all people, should see it. She'll
Ooh,
freely hand over the pad, actually.
that makes me even more suspicious. I look at the pad.
Without any blackouts. The full details of Operation Twin Sword during the Dominion War, which worked in tandem with Operation Nightfall. As we've explained before, Operation Twin Sword was the distractive fleet so that Operation Nightfall had a chance of succeeding even though it failed catastrophically. Twin Sword has kind of been buried completely because during such a time where towards the end and stuff, like you eventually, in a wartime like that, especially a galactic war, your soldiers dwindle in numbers pretty fast. And thus, cadets are put in, young ensigns. But you're like seeing the casualty report and like just quick flips through. You can see that these were cadets and ensigns and stuff that they determined, at least the top brass, one being your mother, also determined that these were cadets that didn't seem like to them had very much promising aptitude to help.
These are the foot soldiers that
Yep.
These are the cannon fodder they sacrificed.
Yep.
The
Okay.
Expendables.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else in there that I don't already know?
There were a couple of admirals you don't really know. But you do know of one. Of another admiral. There are two names you recognize, and there are about 16 you don't. Because this was an operation that took a lot of approval and a lot of thinking had to go behind it, clearly. But Admiral Pryor, who was at one point Commander Jaloran's CO and like handler, and as well as a Commodore, Mihill. So
Back when she was a Commodore.
mhm.
Okay. This was a while ago. Yeah, it was a while ago. Okay.
And then there's just other names, and yes, admirals are, the crowd up there is very small, but why the hell would you bother to keep track of all of the admiral names? So
Yeah. So can I tell if this has been uploaded yet?
you cannot tell. No.
Okay. I look at her. Tayet is her name, is what she said her name was, right?
Mhm. Yep.
I just say, you should not have this. And I look at the lieutenant and say, she's possessing classified documents unauthorized. Take her into custody.
What are you going to do with those, Commander?
That's really none of your business right now. You're in a lot more trouble than that.
Believe it or not, Commander, putting me in custody is not going to stop anything.
Oh, I'm aware. That'll slow it down at least.
You're standing in the middle of a line, Commander.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, Joe? You kind of cut out for a sec.
She's saying like you're standing in the middle of a line.
Of a line?
You're gonna have to pick which side you're gonna be on that line.
We'll see. Take her into a secure location. Don't let her near any sort of terminal or anything that can get access to any sort of network or anything. Keep her away from everything that she can use to hack or anything. She is highly dangerous and highly skilled.
Thank you for the compliment, Commander. Speaking of which, I think we've run out of time. And there is a alert that goes off in Starfleet Command, and there is a panic situation, and just one of the security officers runs back in. Was verifying, but also now as there is a new situation, Earth space dock is what the stuff that keeps it in orbit
Mm-hmm.
has suffered catastrophic system failure, and will collide with Earth at a certain point. I can
I
stop
just
it.
look. What's the catch?
Well, I'd have to get near a terminal.
What else will you do with next to that terminal? Like Leora is not showing that she's panicking. That she's panicking on the inside. She's not really. She's being. I think some people would consider this amazingly calm.
Well, you can interrogate me all you want, Commander,
Mm-hmm.
but it's going to take me roughly 3 minutes to stabilize all of that. And while your commander is impressive, there is a certain amount of what she can do, and it's better if the programmer presses the kill switch. You'll have 3 minutes to determine whether or not that you want that. I can do that in the next 2, and then if you don't, we have a roughly 6 minutes to Earth Space Dock collides with the entire West Coast.
Which would kill you too.
Yes, but all of Starfleet Command and everyone with it, where's your conscience gonna be?
I'll be dead. Anyway, this is a big conundrum you just put me in, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go with the value, high risk, high reward. Okay. Yeah. Can I reach out? Is Jaloran close enough for me to reach out to?
She can reach anybody who's on Earth.
Yes, she can reach
Easily.
anyone there. But I will say this: should you communicate with that, you are like creating that telepathic bond and going into sort of like that slight mindscape.
Mm-hmm.
Time does not slow down there, and you are still in real time.
Okay. I'm going to connect to Jaloran, and I'm going to say as quickly as I possibly can. Found a hacker. She's making Earth Space Dock go towards Earth and destabilizing Earth Space Dock. Need you to shut it down as quick as you possibly can. She is trying to extort me for her freedom, possibly to get her to stabilize her programming in Space Dock.
You're gonna get a really quick acknowledgement, and like your girl is gonna see Jaloran like immediately dive for a console.
And Laura just says, well, either what I just did saves us or we all die.
Well, I guess we'll sit down and die together. I'm not gonna make you roll anything, but you can tell this is an answer that she's not even remotely bothered by.
Mm-hmm. Like which part is she not bothered by? Like the entire thing, or like the not dying specifically?
The not dying part, she doesn't seem that bothered by that.
So this is a true zealot. a true believer.
Maybe.
Or okay. I'll just say I just look at it, Lieutenant. If you have something else to do real quick, I would suggest doing it. I'll keep an eye on a prisoner. Hand me your phaser.
This is actually going to take a. This is Presence Command. This
Mm-hmm.
is going to be a difficulty of 4.
Mm-hmm.
Because what has happened and transpired, the lieutenant did hear this whole exchange, and the translation, like, whether or not this is a gamble or not, they're still their own person, and what you are essentially doing right now is you are gambling with their life too.
Yeah, that is exactly what I'm doing. That's fair enough. Okay, this is a 4 success thing.
Yes.
Okay, I don't have any values. I don't have enough value because I already used my value, which was a pretty good use of it, in my opinion. You know what? I keep doing this, and this is gonna get me killed one of these days. But I've gotta spend a threat to give me a die because I don't think I could roll 2 crits.
Yep, go for it.
All right, I'm sorry. I just got so nervous I forgot the roll. What was the roll?
Mm-hmm.
I am scared. What's the roll again?
This is Presence Command.
Oh, okay. That's not too bad. Is negotiation working or lead by example?
This is going to be negotiation because you have to, like, get your point across that you are steadfast and confident in your decision. Because if there is even a hint of, like, actual expressive doubt, that's really gonna screw up everything.
Well, I rolled a 4, which is 2 successes, a 9, which is 1 success, and a 12, which is another success. So that's 4 successes for me.
Just scraping the bottom of the barrel there.
I know! It's great, isn't it?
As he kind of does hand it off, he takes a moment to hand off Phaser because it is one of those things where it's like, even though you've said it, it still takes a person a while to fully believe it because this is a very strenuous situation. But he will hand it off. I really hope you know what you're doing, Commander.
I do.
They will leave, because now their family is their first concern now.
And I'll just look at Taya and I'll say, well, the next few minutes will be either the last of our lives or just very interesting.
All right. For Alec, you have landed with your XO. She is not actually originally from Earth, and she's actually never stepped foot on it. She is a colony girl through and through. But she kind of takes a waft of the air. This feels really clean, and it feels weird. What are we supposed to do, Commander?
Well, first of all, you need to get out more, but we'll come back to that.
I go back home.
Right. And we'll come back to why that's the issue in a minute. Right now, I need to find my old team. Jaloran's the only one that I think I have a beat on at the moment. I'm going to have you stick around here and try to find out anything that you can, whether you can find anyone else or just get an idea of what's going on.
And I'm guessing by the tone that's being given, this is keep close to the chest?
As much as absolutely possible. If anybody asks you any questions that you're uncomfortable with answering, just give them the bureaucratic runaround.
Well, my father was a diplomat,
Just send it
so
up.
that
Send it up the
works.
chain.
Yeah, no.
Just send it up the chain.
Yeah, no.
Either they'll do it and get tied down in logistics themselves, or they will not bother. It's a tactic that I've used a lot, and don't tell anybody. Let's just don't tell anyone I told you to do this. Let's go.
Is that how you got the captain to leave us alone?
I don't want to talk about it. Let's go.
Very determined, and then he wasn't. I was wondering what happened.
Hera, later.
Right. I will do stuff here, and you'll. Right. Yeah, later.
Hey, watch your back. All right.
That's a really concerning thing to say in Starfleet Command.
Yeah. Well, concerning times.
All right. As you kind of split off, you are able to eventually. You would probably run into a relatively quiet yet incredibly nervous Kavai and a somewhat, I would say, stressed out now Lieutenant Junior Grade Mira Loris, who looks a little agitated probably at this point, and also stressed.
Yeah, a thing happened between them, probably like
20 plus
some time
minutes
ago. Yeah, which we will probably
We'll flashback that next
sorry.
week.
Yeah, sorry, my tongue is not listening to me today. Anyway, Kavai is still kind of all over the place, so Mira is still a little confused on what's going on. But she does understand that it's emergency, that you should be very suspicious of, who you're talking to and your surroundings. So she kind of gives Leora a mildly suspicious look.
Wait, I'm not there.
No, this would be
Oh.
Alec.
Oops, my apologies. Again, my brain is not burning right now. God, could you re-describe the situation to me
Yes,
again? I'm
you're in a
sorry.
situation in which Kavai is probably slightly embarrassed, a little agitated, and quiet right now. You are, I would say, slightly angry and stressed because of what will transpire when we go back to it. And also, Alec is looking for team members, but because of everything that is happening, there's no way that he's going to run into Leora at this present situation. But he has run into you after, because luckily for you, you do stand out a tiny bit, so.
And just for my clarification, where have I? How far away have I gone? Where have I run into them?
Probably, this would be, several thousand feet away from the runabout that at the landing pad. So they're, this team, as you're, running into them, and now you're getting, a good, sense of, oh, wow, they are really split up right now.
Mm-hmm. But, are we, out in public when, or
Yes, you
are
would
we...
be out in public, kind of in, a main thoroughfare area.
Okay.
With people that are blissfully ignorant to the absolute stress that Leora is going through right now.
Wait, blissfully ignorant. Mira was in the same situation like
Same
2
situation,
games ago.
different hat, but like, but I mean,
Yeah,
like
definitely.
the greater like public of Starfleet at large is not aware of like, hey, a space station that contains 22,000 people is gonna start crashing into Earth. They're not aware of that though.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
And one last clarification: are we now aware of that, or are we still not sure? We are still in the
You are
dark.
not aware
Okay,
of that. This is a simultaneous action type of thing.
cool. That's what I thought. Just clarifying. Then I think there's sort of like a moment where like Alec just sort of stops because he wasn't exactly expecting to just like run into them. Sort of expecting to have to search around a little bit more, but then just sort of walks up and just. So, I can see things are going well.
Mira kind of like cough. Yes, you can see they are going swimmingly.
I got a. I got a note that said basically the whole team had gone, the whole office had gone dark, and figured I'd come check it out. Everything okay? I mean, aside from the obvious.
Um, well, Kavai is shaken, so probably won't be able to get anything out of her. Well, I've been here for the last few hours, helping around with all the injuries and such, and then suddenly Kavai just runs in, smashes my comm badge, and you know blasts me with a lot of worry, kind of literally. Well, it's not her fault, obviously. Regardless, it's a little confusing. I'm not very much aware of what's going on.
All right. Well, I got the sense from Commander Jaloran that you all could use a little bit of backup here.
Well,
Have you seen her?
no, I've only seen her the last time when we had that briefing way back, when we were told about everything that happened. But since then, I kind of left all the researching and investigating to people who actually can do that stuff. So I'm in the dark, kind of.
All right. Well, mostly makes two of us then.
Oh, that's great. Well, I think, do you know where at least anybody from the team is?
Not yet. I have some of my people keeping an eye out for anyone, but and I had got sort of a vague notion from Jaloran about where to go. I was on my way there, and I sort of noticed you here.
All right. Then I suppose the only lead we have is going where you were heading to. So let's do that. I mean,
All right.
kind of looks at Kavai a little bit frazzled. Like, am I supposed to, like? She decides to keep her close, like as protective as possible, and she just knows that Kavai would feel worse if she is left alone.
Okay. With that,
I've got a
yep. Yeah, I was.
I've got a little thing.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say just about. It's like, yeah, Jordan's got something, so it's like, okay.
Alec, you feel a little nudge again, like as if she's querying you, and it's like, you got a moment?
I'll just sort of hold out a hand to Mira and just say, "I'll be with you in a second," and I just like find a place to sit down.
Mm-hmm.
Mira, like, you. What?
And
This
just
is
Alec's
no
eyes
ti-
go unfocused.
The.
um,
The exact sound she makes, and now I give the floor to you. I'm really sorry.
um, there's not much direct communication. You definitely get the sense that Jalarn is suddenly very distracted. But she does give you like very clear directions on how to get to a particular apartment and how to get into it. And you get a strong sense of like, this is a safe house. This is an off the grid safe house that not even Starfleet or anybody in the Federation knows about. So she's giving you clear directions to go there. And then like she kind of picks up on your worry about a couple other members, and she just reassures that it's a safe place where they can recoup and get stable again.
Okay. I'll kind of come back a little bit and just say, "Okay, Mira, I've got a place for us to go."
Mira, the entire time, was like pacing around him. She kind of pauses. She looks at him. This is this mental thing that I heard about, right?
Yeah.
You're not like having problems with your brain right now, right?
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but at least at the moment, yes, this specific instance, the commander gave me some pretty specific directions to somewhere we can sort of take a breath.
You're talking with a commander through your mind power, and I am having a headache. All right.
Yeah, I don't really get it either. And if it makes you feel any better, it kind of gives me a headache too, so.
It doesn't. I'm a doctor. It shouldn't make me feel better that you are having a headache.
Well, it gives you something to do. Come on, let's get moving.
On to the
Kind of
whole
rolls
thing
her
that
eyes,
has,
but follows him.
the thing that has Jaloran very distracted. So, Lynn, this should come as no surprise. This is going to be a difficulty of 5.
Not surprised at all.
With a 5-point threat spend.
Lovely.
Be afraid.
Okay. No, I'm pretty calm. It was like you put her up against this kind of programming challenge before.
Mm-hmm.
Like last week.
Yeah. But I'm testing the waters. I want to know when your luck runs out.
Okay. So naturally, gonna use computer expertise to get an extra die. She's gonna pull on. She's gonna pull on a value.
Okay. Which one?
That's what I'm thinking about a little bit.
Well, I will say, the one that you used the last time, mistakes, how we learned, does not apply in this case.
Yeah. This is a new thing.
would a directive from Tate be used as a value, or does that from Leora be used as a value, or is it because that they're lower ranking than her that it won't work?
It's more.
Because I basically gave her an order,
Yes,
even though I'm
but
lower
it is
ranked.
one of those things also where you probably weren't even thinking of it as an order and more of like this has to get done. It's not necessarily
That's fair.
It's not necessarily an order as much as it is sort of a plea of like, hey, if we don't do this, 500,000 people are probably gonna die, if not more.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm looking at.
I'm actually gonna.
No, continue.
I'm leaning towards. It doesn't matter what you're made of, only who you are.
Yeah, I can see that work.
Yeah, she's gonna be sitting deep into the fact that this is a challenge for her, but this is what she was basically born to do. She's a prodigy at linguistics and programming. So I'm going to be pulling on those focuses as well, linguistics and computers.
Okay.
And I'm also going to buy a die.
Yeah. All right. I will say this, much like it was with Leora. If you roll, even if you succeed, any complication can lead to catastrophe in this case.
Mm-hmm. What am I rolling?
This is full on going to be this is full on control and no, actually, this is presence command because your presence is trying to outmatch this programming. So presence command, difficulty 5, threat level 5.
And you have 2 successes from the value.
Mm-hmm.
Nine.
What?
Three crits, two from the value, 3 crits, and barely under the line success.
Oh my god.
So that's like 4 momentum for us.
Yes.
Woof.
Yeah.
You know
This is why she was bonded so
You know what's terrifying for you, Lynn, though? Because now it's going to sit in the back of your mind of, like, is that it? Is that all the luck that I have for the rest of the game? Alright.
Not necessarily. I pulled crazy shit like that all the first half of the season and last season.
Oh, but luck runs out eventually. But with that, you were able to go through all the programming and stuff and move through. And eventually you get a confirmation of, Earth space dock stabilized. And then you see something else within this programming that is a little different. And then your suspicions, you kind of pull up like Earth space dock in like a grid pattern to take a look. Earth space dock, in terms of orbit, was never falling. This was entirely a feint, so they could learn. But that being said,
she's definitely going to log that.
But you did learn a lot about your adversary as well. Of your adversary, you are now playing like a mental game of chess where you have to be steps ahead. I think for Kana here, since you were in the same room, you definitely could probably see Jaloin kind of like see that alert and everything and watch her do her thing, and then watch her face sour.
A problem, Commander.
Am I glitching? What was that?
Didn't. Oh,
Nope. Continue.
What was what?
didn't.
Kana had asked if there was an issue, a problem.
Yeah.
For Jaloran specifically.
Jaloran's expression smooths out. It's like the scowl gradually disappears, but you can tell she's processing something before she turns to you. That alert was a feint. Space Dock was fine. There's more going on here, but we can't discuss it here.
Understood.
Across.
She suddenly
Yeah, across like the
Um,
room, you can definitely see like everyone's paying attention to this. Like, what's going on?
she suddenly does an intricate drill. Most people in the room would actually recognize it. She's done this periodically throughout Madrid. So even if you're not on her command team, they would know what she's doing, even like just being around her. And Aurelia just trots off and then comes back with a bag. But she holds on to it, and Jaloran just signals to Jabril to go, like, we're headed back to her office. Which Jabril should know at that point is like she wants a secure space.
Mm-hmm. Jabril will immediately lead you back to her office and toss up security nets. And she actually tosses up a few extras that you did not know she even had access to. But it's like, okay, this is someone who is a little paranoid to a point where, like, if in any other situation it would seem ridiculous, but right now this is probably, like, really nice.
It's like, and once they're settled in the room, she had also signaled Kana to come with. Aurelia pops up onto a chair, drops the bag on the table, and Jaloran goes to it immediately. And she pulls out a few different objects. One of them she hands over to Admiral Jabril. When Jabril gets her hands on it, she can see right off the bat that this is not Federation tech. This is not anything tech. It's clearly a pad, but it's not connected to anything Starfleet or Federation. Which cues in Jabril to the fact that Jaloran has a few hobbies of her own. She's not the only one in the building that does little experiments. But this seems to be something that Jaloran had been playing with, but it's further along as if she was also like planning for a contingency, needing something that was not relying on their current communications. She hands a second pad to Kana, and then she pulls out a couple of smaller objects. She taps the buttons on each object, and then suddenly there's two holographic copies of Aurelia sitting on the floor, each with collars. Each one has that object on it. So they're little holographic mobile emitters. Also not connected to Starfleet or Federation grids.
Commander, you realize in any other situation you'd be violently reprimanded for this type of blatant experimentation?
One reason why I've been keeping it very deep under the rug.
Commander, given our situation, this is a godsend. That being said, when this is all over, make sure I don't ever know about it ever again.
It goes back under the rug where it came from.
Perfect.
She gestures to Kana to hand over the pin badge.
She kind of would have assumed that she would have to hand over the patch that she usually uses, because she assumes we're going undercover, apparently.
Say that last bit one more time.
She assumes that with the subterfuge with the cat, we're going undercover of some sort.
Yes.
And so she'll
So
hand
once she
her
get
personal pad to Jador.
no, she wants your comm badge.
Oh, then she will hand her comm badge to Jador.
She kneels down in front of one of the cats and pins the comm badge to the cat. At which point Aurelia trills a little bit and the cat's fur changes colors to match Kana's hair. And then Jaloran pulls her own comm badge and puts it on the other cat. Aurelia does the same trill, and the cat's fur also changes in the same manner. At which point Jaloran gets up and looks over at Jabril. These two are going to stay here with you, and you can send them on minor errands around the building as if we're still here. And she gestures between herself and Kana.
Commander,
If we go off the grid, I'm pretty sure that will tip our hand.
well then, Commander. It seems like I will have to make known through easily found means that you were insubordinate and are presently in the brig. Good luck.
One more thing. She has Kana tap a couple of lines onto the pad that she's holding. She just kind of like sends a quick burst through their new bond so that Jabril doesn't hear it.
Okay.
Vance?
Yes, I'm here. And
Jaloran, yeah, is like just whatever lines.
are these lines to sign or lines to?
No, to type into the pad that Jaloran just gave you. The non-Federation pad.
Then she'll type those in.
The pad does a soft little beep, and then there's a corresponding beep in the pad that Jabril's holding. It's like, this is how we'll be able to keep in touch with you for the time being if you're not comfortable at all with me contacting you mentally.
I think technology would be, well, risky. A little smarter. Less technology and less communication amongst the Madrid team actually is cause for suspicion. She calls in a couple of the members, which are security officers, and closes off the, gives them a slight debrief, people that she can also trust, and then drops the whole, like, security of the office. Security. Escort them to the brig, please. And Commander, I really did think better of you. And she will softly, like, hand something off, and turns out that Admiral Jabril is also not a full rule follower. It's a comm badge, but it is not a Federation comm badge. It looks like it is one that has been kept for potentially personal use. But it also is like can be used for a form of like very short distance site to site transportation, which is a small like Klingon computer, essentially. It's very rudimentary, but it's something.
So Oren leans down to pick up Aurelia and then passes Aurelia off to Kana and then grabs hold of one of Kana's arms and quickly programs where she wants to go into the rudimentary short transport and activates it.
Mm-hmm. I think I gave Slay enough.
And where's she?
So we're gonna head to that in a second.
Whew. Yeah. Whew.
All right, so you have. I think I would say it's fair to say like you've bought yourself at least 24 hours of time to be fully off the grid. After that, it starts being suspicious again, but you have 24 hours of basically room to move. But back at Starfleet Command in a diplomatic suite, there is a long period of time where, Leora and Lieutenant Esme Teth are both holding the essentially is kind of breath is being held, waiting to just be crushed.
Can I amend that real quickly?
Hmm?
Leora is not holding their breath. Leora is perfectly calm and is not tense at all.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
But after the 6+ minute mark, nothing happens.
I'd like to read her expression, like when she is, and try to understand like what she's thinking right now. Like, is she surprised that it didn't work, or is she like?
I won't even make you roll for this one. She is. The look. It is a look of like acknowledgement, but it is also a look of almost amusement at accomplishing something that should have been relatively impossible.
Like she accomplished something, or DeLorean accomplished something.
She definitely accomplished something.
Okay. Leora would just say, I'm assuming from your expression that either you're impressed with my commander, or you pulled a little trick on us.
Little of both, actually.
Interesting. You're very good, I will say that.
Yes, I wish I could say the same about you, but at least your commander's impressive.
I picked you out of a room, didn't I?
You did.
I stun her.
Okay. You can roll. I believe it's how many?
I think it's control security.
Yeah, it is
for a ranged weapon.
Let's see here. Nope, that's the old character sheet. There he is. Yes, it is. This is control security. This is going to be a difficulty of 3.
Okay, and my control thing comes into
yes.
effect.
Mm-hmm.
So my communication range is down by 2, and I get automatic success. So let me check my value. Let me check my focuses and stuff. I mean, this might be a stretch, but would tactics come into play?
No, there's no tactics in this. This is just point and shoot.
Okay. Well, would could I argue that the tactics come in with taking her off the board for a little while?
Potentially.
Okay, I'll just roll. All right, that is 4 successes. I rolled a 1 and a 4.
4 successes. As you kind of pull Phaser to stun, she doesn't even make an attempt to dodge out of the way. As you do that, and you have overloaded a form of circuitry, as she just disappears.
She was a hologram the entire time, wasn't
And
she?
clattering, there is a comm badge.
Mm.
I'll pick up. Is the comm badge like functional,
Uh,
or did I destroy it?
you kind of shorted it out. You probably, with someone skilled enough, you could probably repair it. But you're looking at this, and while this is sort of a comm badge, it also functions. God, I am amazed at how accidental I've made these two, like, so parallel to each other. This is it is not the greatest form, but it is a rudimentary form of a holographic emitter, basically.
All right, Liara makes a mental note to themselves saying, "Next time I see her, touch her. Make sure she is tangible."
Mm-hmm.
All right, and Liara will just be like, "Okay, should have seen that coming, but At least we got some information." And I'll just pick up the Ruined Combat because that's a potential way to find her. Even if we find someone skilled enough, which being Jaloran or Kabai, because Liara doesn't know what Kabai has gone through yet. And is that security officer around?
No, they took off because they felt like other priorities were more important at the moment. The threat of, like, a space station coming down.
Can I say that with their phaser, they gave me the holster for the phaser?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just strap the holster around my waist and just go about my day.
Okay.
You get
I was about to say, just as you are doing that, you are going to feel like a mental connection, because this is one of those situations where it's finally kind of hasn't been said yet, but officially it is sort of like shit's really hit the fan now.
Yeah, you get the mental nudge of like you're it's like, how familiar is Liara with San Francisco and the surrounding area around?
They probably had to come here at least a couple times with their mother, so they're not unfamiliar.
Okay, so Liara would get a sense of, like, it's in the zone of familiarity. They've been through this neighborhood before, but Leo would notice that, like, Delorn is definitely giving them directions to a particular little spot. They probably passed by it a few different times, but never really noticed it. But now you have reason to. But okay. Delorn is making it clear she wants them to go there.
Liara will just say, we'll just, like, give you a sense of, on my way, Commander. Then they'll close the connection. Well, close as much close as it normally is, anyway. And then, since presumably no one can see them, they'll just, like, go on their put their hands on their knees for a second, and just like take a deep breath and go, and just be like, well, that was more terrifying than flying underneath a Romulan bird. Okay, what else has this day have in store for us?
And
They'll head over.
Yep, and we will find out after our break here. So stand up, stretch, hydrate, all of that. We will be back in 5 to 10, but who knows, because we're bad at being back on time. So. Welcome back, everyone. We are not going to get too distracted this time, and we are going to dive right back into it. And we are actually going to jump right over to this safe house, where all of you eventually have finally reconvened. And at this point, since the attack on the Starfleet Academy versus this point, it has only been about 8 hours. So you've had probably the most stressful 8 hours of your life. I would say, Lynn, I'm guessing this safe house is spacious but not super large. But it is functional for everything that you need. I would say...
And it's very clear that it's been recently restocked. As if somebody's been here recently.
Yeah, an attack on Madrid several months ago would encourage that.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Convening within this safe house. Would you, Lynn, is it more like a... Is it more like utility focused, or is it more comfort, or is it somewhere in between?
Somewhere in between, and it's clearly a space that there's a fair bit of tech around, so that like jobs, whatever needs to be done can still be done. But it's also like got the comforts of sleep space, food, place to cook, as if this could potentially be a hideout for several months to several years, depending on what's needed. But it is definitely a place where someone could go to ground under the radar for as necessary.
I have a question before we start the scene. We have 4 momentum. That will have gone down to 3, right?
Yes, I will have dropped it down to 3. I will not have cleared out all the momentum. I will simply just drop momentum as scenes switch if they do not get used.
Okay, so we have 3 momentum. So I have the pad, and Leora and in my head, I'm just like, I shouldn't bring this to the safe house willy nilly. So, if everyone's okay with it, can I spend 2 momentum to create an advantage where I have like something that's blocking the signal from the pad?
I'm good with it.
Because I don't want to alert someone to our location.
Right.
Okay.
So I have basically a signal jammer attached to the pad.
Yeah, which is something you probably could have like snuck into Starfleet Command. Like you would have to go. What I would say is you probably like, because diplomatic suites have that for private diplomatic discussions. You're probably able to like rip the system and just jury rig it, which is not like, not to say it's gonna be a like efficient permanent solution, but for the time being, this will suffice.
That's what I had on hand at the moment.
But you have all convened at this safe house, and
It's
And
like
you will
a Star
also-
Trek.
look kind of probably a little beat in one way or another.
Everyone except for Alec, because they hadn't seen Leora in a while.
Yeah.
We'll see that Leora has a phaser that they did not have when they had at the beginning of the day.
I'll just sort of like cock an eyebrow at that, and then I'll at your sort of general appearance, be like, "Wow, it's been a minute since I've seen you face to face." Truthfully, he starts like counting on his fingers: Utopia Planitia, the safe house, now the academy. I expected wrinkles and gray hair.
I'm not that much older than you, Alec. Well, no, I am, but
Yeah,
this is not that much older.
yeah, but you are a lot more stressed out than I am on a general day-to-day basis.
Well, considering what I just went through, I'm just gonna say yes, I am. And I will pull out the pad with the jury-rigged
Signal jammer.
So thank you, my brain, because Joe really fucked me up in the first half. Whew. And I'll pull out the broken comm badge and I'll say, so basically, I found a version of our hacker. I don't know if that was her real face, but she was using a portable holographic emitter, very good one. I couldn't figure it out, and she was hacking, and I caught her, and then she basically tried to bring down the entire station.
Does she show what the hacker looked like?
I think I have, I can describe her.
Yeah, it wouldn't take that hard. It wouldn't be that hard to like figure out.
I have her name, Lieutenant Tayet.
Okay, that's she would be an archivist, perchance. Would she?
Yeah, she was an archivist. I picked her out because she was being way too focused in that situation. And then when I went to stun her, she was a hologram. After we talked for a little bit, she's very arrogant, but also very good.
Well, because it's really awkward. I've been with her in person for the last, few hours, while I was, helping the medical staff here kind of approached me and offered help. Oh my god, what if I just allowed a terrorist walk around and
Mira, take a breath.
mess with my patients?
Mira, take a breath. Take a breath. Calm down. It's okay. We don't know if she was a terrorist. They could have just been using a holographic emitter to mimic her, just like they did with Jaloran. We don't know it's her for sure. It's just another holographic emitter. We don't even know if this person is even a woman. Even identifies as female.
Yes, but
Save your anger
even
for when we.
You see
Save
how
your anger.
suspicious it is.
Yeah.
It's,
Save your anger for when we find this person.
it's the same. No, I am fine. I'm just saying, it's just unusual to me that the person who was very specifically assisting me just, a few hours ago, turned out having the same face as the person that threatened you. It's I would say weird, but it can be a coincidence. So what's the play here? What's the catch? Not to mention, I recognize her. I helped her once. It just doesn't make sense. Why would they do that?
They're probably trying to slow us down and mess with us. Could be a double bluff. Could be a lot of things. But right now, we just can't. We just have to be calm, and we can't let this fluster us. I just played chicken with her, and she didn't blink. So we'll see where this goes.
I want to ask, since Mira worked with that archivist person, she was able to. She would know if she was a hologram or not, right?
Not necessarily, but from what you can gather, especially in an area that's sort of has that type of distortion, probably not a hologram in that case. No.
So it was a real person, basically.
Yep.
So we know it was a real person.
So then what we're
Mira
thinking here
starts
is,
pacing.
so we're thinking then that either this is a coincidence, like Leora said, and that it is a likeness being used, or there's some sort of angle here.
My guess.
It feels personal.
But even if it is exactly a person that approached me on her own at the same time turned out to have the same face as the hologram,
Well,
that's just too much of a coincidence.
Well, this feels like, from what I got from that person, whoever it was, it feels a little personal to they are fighting us specifically. So my guess is they had, once you landed on at that site, because they had our base compromised, so they knew where you were going. Once you land on that site, they kept you under surveillance somehow. Probably wouldn't be too hard in that situation. And they chose a distinctive face to try and throw us off. That could be one thing. It could also be that it's her exactly. But with this person, but I get the feeling that with this person, the most obvious answer isn't always the correct answer.
Then perhaps we should have a look at her pad.
Yeah.
And see if there's information on there.
It is.
Yeah, sometimes it is, but we'll figure it out. And I'll hand the pad over to Jaloran and Kana.
Or I can just.
No.
Or I can just go back and try to search for her.
Not right now. We need to be together for right now. Not right now.
What do you mean, not right now? She might have already left. But if we wait for another hour, she would definitely have left. And I don't know. We can at least look at the cameras there. I can look at the cameras. I can just run off there and do all this.
I looked at Jaloran to see what she thinks of the idea.
I've been there the entire time.
Yeah.
It's very clear whoever's behind this wants us separated.
Yeah. That's what it seems like.
So our advantage right now is staying here together. This place is equipped that we can
Advantage
tap
is
into our combined skills and observational skills give us an advantage over one person working alone.
I got
And
the
I can tap
impression.
into
how do we know that
I
they
can
work
tap
alone
into
though?
this. We don't necessarily, but so far, all of this has felt like a one-person show. One person with a very personal vendetta.
Joe.
Yes.
Did I? This is probably asking too much, but did I get the impression that she was working alone, or with figuring out that because with what she said that if the space station dropped, it wouldn't stop it or anything. What would I get the impression that now that I know the space station was actually dropped, which is she worked? Would I get the impression that she's working alone, or that she is working with people? Would I have gotten that?
It's a free type of ask, and because you played that game of chicken and you played it very well, the word for that is letting you know, though she did not blink, the level of like bravado and arrogance that she displays kind of assumes that she probably would not work well if this was a team setting.
Yeah, so I'll say I got the impression that I'll say I got the impression that she was working alone.
Then let's see what her pad has to say, because we might get some more information from that.
Careful, even though she probably wasn't expecting me to pick her out, she probably put some nasty stuff on that.
And probably a
In the
self-destruct.
There's a room for that. In the meantime, she just does not explain any further.
Alec has a look on his face that says he clearly has questions about it, but is not going to ask them at this moment.
Leora is not surprised and silent.
Mira
In the meantime,
is
I
absolutely
Go
as
ahead.
confused as Alec, honestly.
and she does turn to Alec and it's there's definitely a look on her face. She's glad to see him in person for the first time in a while. But she does get right down to business. I do have a means for you to tap into the security cameras at the academy. She points over to a side room, and it looks very familiar to you. You've been in Jolarn's security room at her home, so it's a very similar setup. So if you and Mira could go through those security feeds and see if you can find this lieutenant, the archivist, and see where else. Once you have found her, see if you can find her in multiple places. Was she appearing both at the academy and where Leora were? And see if you can track her movements through the security feeds.
We ended up in a diplomatic suite, so you probably won't be. There might not be cameras in there, but you can find her before that.
Yeah, that sounds good. Mira, you want to help me with this?
Of course.
One last thing,
I would
Commander.
really like
Do
to
you
see
have
what she
anything?
might have done with my patient.
Do you have any equipment for me to use to set up some sort of secure channel to a comm badge? I need to let my XO know that I've just what's going on.
Joanna walks over to a nearby cabinet and pulls out a black pad. Alec would notice that same thing that Jabril would notice. It's clearly not Federation tech. It's not connected to Federation or Starfleet channels, and she brings it over to him. You can use that.
All right. And I think as Mira and I are going off to like look at footage, whatever, I'll just sort of quickly like try to let Hera know, like kind of give an update to the situation. And
Yeah, you like because of the way this combat works and it's linking into sort of a foreign source. You do hear like it's almost like a bug potentially where you can hear some conversations. Like you can hear her. No, I am meant to be here. You can ask, and she'll just list a bullshit set of names. And also, I have something I need to do, and also, you're an ensign, so kindly go away.
That's a brave ensign.
Lieutenant,
And
you reading me?
Yeah, what happened to your comm badge?
The short answer is it's the security situation. The longer answer is that at the moment I've made contact and I am in the process of investigating what might be a targeted attack.
On Starfleet.
Well, more specifically on members of the Madrid field office, but I'll let you know more as I know more.
Commander, I am going to say this once because I know you constantly tell me this, especially when I am in the field. And I understand the irony that is about to leave my mouth, but please be careful.
There's a bark of laughter from the other room.
I'll say noted, and I will exercise whatever caution is. You know what? I'm not going to bother giving you the like diplomatic speech about this. I'll do what I can.
Perfect. How come that answer hasn't worked when I've said it?
Because I outrank you.
That's a
So
bullshit
here's what I
answer,
want you
but
to
I'll
do.
take it.
Hey, that's Starfleet. Anyway, I'm gonna need you to get yourself out of the immediate vicinity there and make sure that that you are alone when you leave. I wouldn't put it. I think you're probably fine, but I wouldn't put it past whoever this is to try to get to people in our sort of adjacent circles.
I can post the runabout in the Arctic. That should keep me out of any type of immediate danger.
All right, I'll let you know. I'll keep you updated, and I'll let you know when it's safe to head out.
You notice she's not talking to you in this last minute, but she did get acknowledged. Just, and now there's two of you, and the feed cuts out.
Ooh, little old
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, so I think then we'll just we'll get to work then, looking through footage and stuff like that.
Looking through the footage and stuff. I'm not gonna make you roll anything here, but looking through the footage in the halls and stuff that you're able to collect collective like feeds and stuff, you do see this Lieutenant Esme Teeth and how she's kind of moving through the halls, and something that you are noticing very specifically, one for Lieutenant Loris's reason, and also for you, Alec, having a security background. When people walk, they have their own sort of identifying markers. It's why people can tell who's coming down the stairs and such.
Mhm.
in a crowd of like Starfleet halls and stuff, it's not easy to see, but there is short little bursts of it in like where there's like an area where there's no other Starfleet officers where it can be camouflaged. The footsteps are very equal every time. Very holographic in a way. So definitely hologram here, but they knew what they were doing.
I'll turn to Mira and say, okay, so exactly when was it that they were with you? And then I'm gonna try to cross-reference like Leora's interaction with Mira's interaction to see if there's any like overlap between the two. Because at the very least, figuring out like whether or not they were like happening simultaneously will tell us something at least.
You will find the only slight overlap you'll see is when Kavai comes up to Mira and grabs the comm badge and smashes and breaks it. And also seeing this Lieutenant Teth kind of like put her hands up like, you two got shit to work out, I don't want to be a part of it, and will kind of back off. But you will see her, like, as she kind of turns around, the camera doesn't make it very clear, but it almost looks like she's checking something on her wrist before kind of heading out. And there isn't any, like, full overlap, but it is close.
Right. Like, it... like, just close enough that it could be implausible for her to be where she was with Mira and also be where she was with Leora.
Yeah, pretty much. It could be that, or it could also be, like, the way it's set, in terms of timestamps. She definitely, if she wanted to be in the same place as Leora, she would have had to run a little bit. But with the knowledge that, hologram, there is also checking the wrist, there is also the possibility that she could have just activated a program too.
Right. I figured, like, because we know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you said that with Mira, she was a real person.
Yep.
And we know that with Leora, she was a hologram. So we already know that information. Mostly what I wanted to know in this sort of cross-referencing this is if there was overlap with enough to like link the two, and because remember there was some sort of question as to whether or not this person is in charge of the hologram.
There is enough linking, yeah.
Okay.
There is enough linking to know that is definitely that, but there is also not enough to really answer the whole. And the big question, of course, that still sticks out for everyone is the why. Why these big swings and why these moves? Because essentially what you're doing is you are performing a one-person war against Starfleet, which is bold.
Yeah.
To that objective,
Alex can probably hear like a very like a creaking and like a snapping of bones. It's Mira grabbing the table and kind of like pulling on it, and she is strong. Like she's not bending it, but you can see that it's a strong effort. So so what you're saying right now is that I've been fraternizing with a terrorist for hours. I'm breaking her neck the moment I see her.
That's not exactly going to be conducive to us getting a whole lot of answers, but I understand the sentiment. Yeah.
Let me have this. if only we weren't told to stay put, I would have run back there and found her. And I can't believe this. I came here to be useful, but in the end, I just let go of one of the main suspects. This is such bullshit.
I'll just sort of like wait for her to sort of like go through. I'll just sort of cock an eyebrow and just sort of, you done?
Really, but
All right. Well, then, for the time being, while you're in between breaths here, this is the reality of the situation. What happened happened. You had no way of knowing, and now we do know. We can only go forward from here. So let's focus on that and the things that we can do something about.
what can we do?
Well,
Now we're
for
just
now,
stuck here. At the very least, we know her face, but with holograms, she might be able to herself in front of our noses for the entire time.
that's true. Maybe I wonder if there's a way that we can take her advantage and make it ours. Right? I mean, she's using this holographic technology. If there was some way that we could get a lock on this, it might make tracking, well, at the very least, one of the holograms down possible. But maybe beyond that, we could use it to trace back a signal to wherever she's generating them from.
I will point out that Leora did bring in the broken emitter
That's
too.
correct.
True.
And Leora did say something about the person being not a team player, so I'm guessing, and considering that they have been very, very brazen with showing their face, I've seen this sort of person. They are teasing us, like just jumping in front of us like a frog, but thinking that we wouldn't catch her because, I don't know, holograms or something else. This, I mean, I don't know the technology and stuff, but I know people, and this arrogance is, I think that is usually utilizable in a fight.
It's almost like, I think Alec is kind of frowning listening to Mira talk. It's almost like she wants to be caught, or at least wants us to know what she's doing.
That's actually a good point. Then there are two options, well, in my mind. Either being caught would, be beneficial to her, or again, she's just being a tease, like, giving us something, taking it away. It's like a game.
Exactly. All right, I'm going to take this to the rest of the team, and we'll see if we can work on the on that emitter that Leora brought back, and maybe work something out.
Speaking of, that is exactly what is kind of happening. But first, I do want to know, what is our newest member? What is Kana doing right now?
She will have. I suspect that she is going to be working with Jeroen to try and either hack or break into the archivist's pad to find out if we can get any more information from that source.
Okay.
Jaloran is actually going to assign that as a solo task for Kana. It's also a way for her to kind of gauge where is Kana's skills, what is her skill level. She knows that Kana has hacking skills, but she hasn't had a chance to evaluate Kana like she has Kabai.
Very
So
good.
she wants to see how far Kana gets on her own before needing assistance. But she will take a moment to grab the information currently available off the pad before Kana starts digging into it. And she's going to work with Leora, and I assume this is going to be happening. It's like my presumption is this is happening at the same time that
Yes.
Alec and Mira are looking at the security feed.
Yep.
And she's going to make note of the fact that what Leora saw was like the full unclassified Nightfall mission. She's going to. She finds that very curious, and she wants to know why that's there. She's going to take a moment to cross-reference what Kavai gave her from her trip to DS9. She will notice. I'm going to hazard a guess that Kavai did let Jaloran know that she helped a lieutenant get access to these files.
Yeah, I would say so. Maybe not like by name, but for sure, like you know, an Arcanist
I helped a
was doing
lieutenant.
yeah, like, and I mean, it's not that strange, but like, given the situation, it does become incredibly suspicious. Like the lieutenant be like, "Hey, I'm going through like DS9 records, old and new, just to like keep them documented," and that alone is not suspicious. But everything that's happening,
Yeah, this is going to raise a flag. So what she's going to do with Leo, she's going to do, she's going to do a personnel sweep. She's going to pull the cadre of personnel that were identified as expendable. She's going to task Leora with pulling up everything on this Lieutenant Esmeteath. Career record, personal record, family connections, any other personal connections, and then meanwhile, Jaloran is going to comb through everybody that was deemed acceptable to be expendable, captain's rank down, and see if any connections pop between this Teath and who served during Nightfall and potentially who's lost during Nightfall.
okay. With that, let's start with Kana's first. So
yeah,
Kana-
so there's two different roles here.
Yep. So
Possibly 3.
with that, so Kana, you are looking into one specific thing. Is there anything else you want to add into that?
So, well, what Kana is basically going to do is there's a software side of hacking into one of these pads, and there's also a hardware side of hacking into this. So she is basically, I assume that the safe house would have like a breakdown toolkit for things.
Yes.
So she will take that kit and she will begin to break into the innards of because first of all, she's going to make sure there's no, like, if this was D&D, I would be making sure there's no traps in the pad that would be very bad for us.
Mm-hmm.
And then she is going to do a combination of software and hardware hacks to get into the system to make sure that anything she trips on the software side does not harm the physical storage, so that it might be retrieved later by someone more skilled if it needs to come to that.
Okay. Well then, that is going to be this is control security because you are moving very delicately. You can make it daring if you want to be risky about it, but
Her superior officer is watching, so she's going to make sure that she does this properly. No theatrics right now.
okay. Then control and security, difficulty 2.
Is this to look first for the trap?
Yes.
If there are any. Okay. So I assume that my focus in computers and hacking will work
Yes.
on this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I will give you a threat. We have momentum, right?
You have 1.
Yes, you can use one.
All right, then I will use one to buy an extra die. And so with control and security, that's 14. And with my focuses, anything under 4 or under will be a crit. All right, rolling. Okay. I have okay. I have a 2, a 4, and an 11.
11. Okay. You are
That's
able-
1, 2. That's 5 successes. So 3 momentum.
3
Yeah.
momentum.
Mm-hmm. That is good. Because you're doing this delicately. You find some really old technology that that a typical like tricorder wouldn't know to scan for these days. Very archaic and just fell out of use at the beginning of the 22nd century. This thing had like a small like charge, and wrapped with inside it had plastique in it, so you avoided that.
And I will. Sometimes Hannah gets into that mindset where she'll start, verbally saying the steps she's going through, and for some people that would be annoying, but for this point, it would probably be useful. And you just hear her go, why did she put C4 in this? And then just continues to work on now doing the hacking and counter programming part.
The programming part, fairly rudimentary. It is, has holographic tech in it. Phaser did some pretty impressive damage to it. Like, some of the emitters are, like, full-on fried. But what you are gathering is the only reason someone would even have the ability to build or begin to understand this tech is probably if you had access to it. If you were an archivist and kept track of, like, Federation history and stuff like that. Simultaneously, Leora and Jaloran are going through the pads and skimming through things. And you are looking for, like, because this one's fully declassified, like, members involved, expendables, crew rosters, all of that. Is that what I understood from that?
Yes.
Okay. It takes a little while.
As well as
Mhm.
as well as Kayeth's background.
Yes. Digging around and looking through, it's so hard to find because there are over 8,300 names to go through, and that's a lot. That's a big fleet. And you're scanning, and I think it's both of you kind of like move past it and then stop and kind of look at each other like, wait, I think I just saw something, and look down. Within the crew roster, there is an Eleanor and Esme Taith that were third-year cadets at one point aboard the USS Trudence, which was a Centaur-class vessel that got obliterated during Operation Twin Swords and Nightfall, respectively. And while everything was deemed as no survivors, in a chaos like that, an escape pod can be missed pretty easily. Escape pods are very slow. So to get to a civilized world, it probably took several months, maybe even a year. And that is a long time to ruminate and to build resentment. And this has been something that clearly has been boiling for years upon years. And maybe at one point she had let it go, but then Utopia Planitia, and then the immediate choice, not even like a quick like debate about it. It was the immediate choice to kind of abandon value and be like, we're gonna protect ourselves first.
Is it recorded that they both died during Nightfall, or at least MIA?
The other one did die during Nightfall, or is considered MIA, or well, killed in action. But both of them were. But like looking through, only like clearly Esme is fine, but the other one it doesn't seem to be like that they were.
Was that Esme's sister or brother?
Would have been eldest.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Elder
was going to ask, are they? Sorry, that was my question. It's like siblings, twins, or is there a year gap? So Eleanor is the older and seems to be very clearly deceased, whereas Esme, though marked KIA, thought to be KIA, is clearly fine.
Yeah. Leora will look over these names and look over everything else after we found Esme and just say, Starfleet sent all these people to die because they weren't considered promising.
Joanne also taps Eleanor's name and profile. We have a twofold motive here.
Yep. I can understand her anger.
As can I.
At about this time, Alec has something to share.
All right. So Mira and I have combed through the footage, and we can definitively confirm that the hologram is being operated by the individual in question. Moreover, this is less of specific evidence or anything like that, but just a feeling like she wants to be caught. She wants to know what's happening, or she wants us to know what she's doing.
She wants what Starfleet did to be out in the open. She's trying to expose all dirty little secrets that Starfleet has.
Sure, but she could do that without exposing herself to us.
If you give it a face, people will make it more personal. She's trying to be a murderer.
Or, she's just being arrogant. Didn't you yourself say that she's not exactly a team player?
She's not.
So,
Could be both.
I mean, I wouldn't exactly. Mm, maybe. But, Alec and I, we thought it could be a game she's trying to play with us, specifically. Teasing us in a way, trying to get us all riled up, and honestly, she kind of is succeeding in this. Regardless,
She's trying to prove
um,
something.
that's our perhaps it's just a thought that Alec and I had, but
She's trying
It
to
certainly
prove
makes
that
sense
she's.
considering
Sorry, go ahead.
it makes sense. It makes sense with what we've uncovered as far as her involvement in Nightfall. It's like she's trying to prove to us that she was not expendable. Because everybody that died, nearly everybody, like a slim number, but the majority who died were considered by Starfleet to be
Not
expendable,
promising.
essentially. Not promising, no future, not going to progress further. She's clearly thought about this a long time and wants to prove not just the catastrophe that Nightfall was, but also to prove that she had far more potential than what Starfleet ever said.
I think Alex's mouth kind of tightens at this a little bit, and he just kind of nods thoughtfully. So then what's our next move? Or, more importantly, what's her next move?
One of the things that I learned when trying to stop this so-called attack, the feint of making everybody believe that Earth's space dock was failing, she's still learning to an extent. She learned about my skills, but she's also still learning herself. Would Joanne have been able to pick up on the Romulan code when she was doing the?
Oh yeah.
She's also mixing in code from other places. Like she pulls it up and she highlights particular areas. It's like this is Romulan. This is not Federation at all.
Yes, I know. Yeah, I noticed that. That's how I was able to track her to where she was, well, the hologram was.
Did you have any other ideas, Alec?
Not specifically. I mean, without any idea what she's trying to do or going to do next, what her next move is, I can't say specifically. But if what you're telling me is true, and she's still learning, she's still poking around for information, my instinct is that maybe it's time for us to teach her something. Maybe we give her something that we give her misinformation, something, anything that'll trip her up, that we can use to get her into a position that we need.
She looks to kind of.
I mean,
I think about at
Have
this
you
time
been
is when,
particularly sloppy.
and I think it's at this particular moment that the C4 comment is made from kind of before she goes into fully into hacking into the path.
Mm-hmm. Which
Lauren just kind of quirks an eyebrow and is like,
About explosives, sorry.
Yeah, Jordan quirks an eyebrow at that comment and just kind of plays it. It's like, don't they teach that's where the rocks come from in the Clone Souls?
Indeed.
Yeah, I mean, even the kitties in the poorer districts know about this. Come on, man.
With all of that, and all this sort of information that has been learned, for you, Leora, I think there's a moment where you just learning that, and actually for Jaloran too. The two of you would probably know this at this point. Well, Earth Space Dock, or Starbase 1, has many members on it. It has its own academy on it. And the little bit that you have gotten, this information you've gotten, this whole cadets being somewhat expendable, and all of that, it feels off. The attack on Starfleet Academy is definitely something to bring attention. But I think there is a feeling, for probably everyone, where that almost seems illogical. Like, she shouldn't have done that. Like, it doesn't make sense for ethos. As you are all left to ruminate on that and consider how to take action next. I am going to end the episode here, mainly to give my players a breath, because I don't think I've given them one yet. But as always, having been said,
Oh, yeah.
we hope that this night has been perhaps a stressful portion of R&R, but we will see you all next week, and hopefully Silver will be able to join us as well for that one. So tune in.